Miku and Vocaloid in its entirety has been a weird core part of my life. I don't entirely remember how I initially discovered it. All I remember was stumbling upon this, and me being the scaredy cat I am, well, let's just say that my fear of freak show circuses has developed through this. Later on, I did went back to a very specific song that led me down this rabbit hole, but that's for a story for another video. Because I tell most of my friends, I discovered Vocaloid by normal means, because I've always been embarrassed by the fact that I discovered it via the Dark Circus. But you know what, for the video that shouldn't exist, I'll give you that fact. Really though, this video shouldn't exist to me. For context, in one of my previous videos, I made this light goal of making it an X, Roman numeral 10, because in all honesty, I thought that video would bomb. But because of factors I didn't consider during the thumbnail planning session... Limbus Company! I wasn't expecting it to do well at all. Maybe like 200 views at best, but Don Quixote and you guys proved me wrong. So, thank you guys for proving me wrong. As a joke promise, here's my Miku video, so enjoy. Of all my favorite characters, Miku is everything that is appealing to me. A synth voice character for people to use to make songs with, whether starting out or a seasoned artist going all out. It's always fun to listen to because at the end of the day, that's two cakes for me to enjoy. Her design as well is pretty much recognizable to anyone. To me, she's as recognizable or even more than Goku or Mario, if shown to any stranger. And most of all, she's blue. I tend to like a lot of things that are associated with the color blue while growing up. My favorite game character was Mega Man, Lugia is one of my favorite legendary Pokemon, my infatuation with the ocean is probably because it's blue. So, Miku being one of my favorite shades of blue is an absolute plus. So imagine the surprise of all my closest friends when I told them on my 21st birthday that I've always liked Kasane Teto more than Miku the whole time. This isn't me saying that I hate Miku, by the way. I love all the voice banks due to them allowing any artist to have different flavors of styles and pretty much have infinite creative freedom. And if I do want to start splitting hairs, Gumi should technically be my favorite because she is my favorite voice bank, with her having the most popular English Vocaloid song being Echo. But for me, Teto has always represented being a underdog of sorts, and because of this, I've always struggled and felt awkward talking about Vocaloid to other people. The reason why I don't talk about Vocaloid that much to people before is because I've always considered it more of a guilty pleasure rather than a normalcy. The amount of absurd and niche songs that exist in the Vocaloid space is massive. From shitposts to covers to legitimate good songs. But if I were asked to recommend a song to someone who doesn't know, for the longest time I would show them any song from Wowaka, as a source of a classical gateway drug to get them into Vocaloid. Now this answer does vary depending on how plugged in on the internet the person is, but most of the time I would recommend a Miku song due to the fact that it's, well, Miku. Of course I could show people Teto or any other song that uses a different singer, but to me the chances of someone sticking to and discovering more is by knowing what they are familiar with. And since Miku is well Miku, I always felt that if I showed them something like Teto Territory or Medicine, I have a feeling that they are going to watch it, look at me and go, "This actually Vocaloid?" And since that already happened to me once, I'm not going to take that gambit again. Every single time I wanted to talk about Teto in the 2010s era, it would always be how she is second or non-existent to Miku, since I don't really converse with people who are in the fanbase. If I'm going to compare all of it to the people who don't understand, hi all my non-Vocaloid friends, it's like this. Miku and Teto are Mario and Luigi. Kyogre and Groudon, Char and Amuro, milk then cereal, or cereal then milk. These two as a duo is the most interesting thing because out of all the comparisons I just made, they all have the same level of popularity or get the same amount of love. While with Miku and Teto, Miku has the world in her fucking palms, while Teto has been struggling for the longest to gain more popularity. How does this happen? It would make sense that they would both equally explode and take ibuprofen together, both coming almost a year apart and being color-coded to be perfect contrasts of each other, and yet, one just exploded and has the most insane reach like no other fictional character, while the other just has this underground fan base. So, again, how does this happen? Well, the answer is honestly simple. For those who know, you already know what I'm gonna say next. And for those who don't know, this is going to sound absurd. Absolutely absurd. Kasane Teto, from the very beginning of her concept, is a joke character. Not in the sense of a, oh, haha, funny, goofy gag character in a manga. No, Teto is a joke. An April Fool's joke created by random suggestions on people from 2channel, which is just 4chan, transformed into a character, and out came Teto on April 1st. She didn't even have a voice bank when she was released. It was just 2 weeks later when she actually got a voice to use on Nutao, and somehow, through sheer will and audacity, she became popular. I need to emphasize this. She is not Vocaloid. She was just a goofy, haha, funny joke character that people liked, and she became real. Miku's great, and Gummy is my favorite voice bank, but Teto is my third favorite character in all of fiction. Even besides that weird history, especially the initial design concept, but let's just ignore that. The songs that people make for her are so introspective and hits in the feelers. But I can't just say all of that and ignore the insanity that people make with Miku and the others. As a person who breaks down the mixes of songs to get a better understanding of why people like it for fun, whether it's the instruments they use, the plugins to make them sound good or more unique, or even simple things like a person's voice being unique enough to stand out on its own. Because of that, Vocaloid and the people who cover Vocaloid songs are always the most interesting things to study due to the fact that people can do whatever in this genre. We have songs like Aishite, Aishite, Aishite being one of the most popular songs on YouTube with its unique instruments and use of panning to make a person have to pay attention to what you're listening to. We also got Goddish. Having a male singer as its backer adds a lot to the voice, giving it more presence, while also making it feel like the song would have came out in the early years of Vocaloid. Or even talking about recent stuff, Speed of Spice takes inspiration from Eurobeat and absolutely crushes it. It always reminds me of that weird 2014 Eurobeat hype phase that people had. You already know what I'm about to say next, but 2 out of these 3 songs uses Miku. My friend always says this jokingly, but if you want to get popular fast, just sell your soul to the blue goddess when actually you're the devil in disguise. Oh yes you are the devil in disguise. If you're starting out, have the most creative, most unique sound alive. It doesn't matter who you use. If you want to get traction and gain listeners fast, you have to use Miku. The sheer amount of pull that Miku has is insane. It doesn't matter what type of creator you are, whether you're an artist, songwriter, cover artist, if you care about rotting for clout fast in that space, you use Miku, and that always irked me a tiny bit. I do appreciate Miku. The amount of friends I've made just by having Miku as a conversation starter is overwhelming. But I wish, just that, for once in this crazy, noisy, bizarre world we live in, that Teto, this April Fool's joke of a character that shouldn't be, will someday be #1 in the world. And in 2023, something was released that changed the fate of Vocaloid forever. Before I get into what changed, I need to tell you something. There's a thing that me and my friend used to do, which is we would meet up at the end of the month and look at the Vocaloid charts to see what's changing and new. Most of my friends play fantasy football, but me? This is my fantasy football. And with the Vocaloid chart showing you what is popular at the time, it's more than easier to look and listen more than ever. So seeing what Vocaloid song gets to be #1 in the world, while watching the others trying to take that spot, is my biggest dopamine hit. So when April of 2023 came around, a monumental announcement was made. Synth V announced a synthesizer for Teto for her 15th anniversary. At first my reaction was pretty normal. Just another vocal synth for people to use other than the Utao version. Could be interesting to see what people can do with it. There were a few points in time where Teto did reach around the top 30s, but as usual, Miku and Young Girl were always at the top. Then, in the beginning month of 2024, there were Teto songs coming in the top 10s. Huh. I guess more people are using Teto's Synth V more. Well, alright. Guess this year's gonna be an interesting year then. Oh my god, this is insane. This is unheard of. Never before has this happened, and there's nothing out there right now that seems like it's gonna take his top spot. Finally, for the first time, Teto, may long this reign. Miku! Well, that was short-lived, but hey, this just means that if it happened once, it can happen again. With Synth V giving Teto a popularity boost, who knows when the next time Teto could be #1? It might happen sooner rather than later. This, right now, this is huge. This is the first song ever that has Teto feature to ever reach 100 million views, putting it up there with Aishite, 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 and Echo. Finally, my big three all have songs in the millions. But it's tied with fucking Miku! The song did go down a few times by another Miku x Teto song, but Mesmerizer would just stay #1, and there was no sign of it ever getting dethroned. I could have been happy about this fact that Teto is #1, but I wanted more. Yes, Teto has the throne, but it's shared with Miku. And I wanted Teto to be #1 by herself, again. And there was this one song that I saw on release that I knew that this song is going to be my perfect gamble. As soon as I saw this song, I knew it was time. This song has a chance for Teto to dethrone Mesmerizer and become #1 and hold that spot. This one was going to be insane, but I know for a fact that Tetos can do it. So, Teto, climb that line! Yes! Finally, on November 22nd, 2024, Kasane Teto with Teterus, my lucky horse, is #1! Finally! Again! She did it! She's #1! The world is hers! And nothing will ever stand in her way! Hold on one second, my friend just messaged me. Huh? What's that? My goat, Deco27, released a song? Well, alright. Let's see what's it about. Let me just click on the link to the video and... In all honesty, it was exhilarating to see Teto, if only for a few days or just 24 hours, being number one. And if I were to count, mesmerizing almost a whole year. I know this video has been almost an entire rant about Teto rather than it being about Miku, but if I were to get down to the nitty-gritty of it, without Miku, Teto wouldn't even exist. And without Teto, I probably wouldn't have truly stuck with Vocaloid. 2024 was a wild ride in its entirety for me. The biggest ups and downs I've ever experienced in a while. But what made it an absolute enjoyable year for me was seeing the amount of love Teto received. From art, people making covers using Teto, the songs that Jamie P dropped making her the #1 vocal synth user to me. I was thinking about making a favorite songs of 2024 list at some point, but I feel like it's more appropriate to say this rather than make a video about it. My favorite song of all in 2024 is by, no surprise, Machine Love by Jamie P.
Can we wander for a spell and live in fairyland? I wanted to be true, to be like you. My heart sings a chorus out of tune, and I could leave it on the shelf or keep it to myself, but nothing could conceal the things I feel. My love, can you teach me to be
The song being a fan letter to Teto, being helped made by tons of different artists, and being beautifully put together by Jamie P herself, the song just shows how much that this character, this April Fool's character that has no right to exist, nor being popular by any means, showing to the masses that this character is no joke. That this character is loved and is real, and just by that fact itself, it just brings tears to my eyes.
And though I try, I can't reply. It hurts my eyes and I'm without an alibi. 'Cause all this time I've been alive, and know that everyone is believing by your side.
So, thanks, HATSUNE MIKU. Without you, Kasane Teto probably wouldn't exist. Because without Teto, I probably would have forgotten a dead dream that my late friend bestowed upon me. And what was that dream? Well, I'll think I'll let you know later. This has been Lounge, waiting at Slime Station, and I'll see you at my next stop.